for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah. How you doing? Today's Tuesday, May 1st, 2018, 121 days into the new year, just 244 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in downtown Burbank, California. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? Yeah. Tonight, very special guest, Ken Johnston is here. NASA image whistleblower. That's right. Joins the show for the first time, too. A little bit later, Bret Collin, who has a keen set of eyes to find these anomalies in the photographs of these images that Ken has. And so we've got a collection of images here that we are going to discuss. So the bottom of the hour, it will be Ken Johnston. And then at the bottom of the next hour, we'll be joined by Bret Collin. Okay, so everything is dialed in and ready to go. Tomorrow night, Michaela Sheldon is here. And I'm just going to say this. And all of our guests, every single night, every night of the week, every week of the month, all of our guests are amazing, and the feedback is always great, and that's wonderful. Michaela Sheldon, one of the most requested, commented on guests that we've ever had on this show. And so she is back. She is back tomorrow night. Very excited about that. And she will also be at Soul Tech up at ECETI Ranch in August. So if you're going, then you'll be seeing Michaela up there. If you haven't gotten your arrangements yet for ECETI after tomorrow night's show, you will be seeing all of us up at Soul Tech at ECETI Ranch. Thursday night is another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom live. And followed by open lines all night long. And you can follow me right now on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Very simple, at JChurchRadio. Facebook, YouTube. You can still catch us on Facebook. We're still there. And I guess this is kind of the plan. It's like this. This is the plan. The plan is, as soon as I have milked everything that Facebook is worth, right, which means everybody that I can get off of that ridiculous platform. No, look, if you enjoy it, if you enjoy Facebook and you don't mind the advertising and you don't mind the data collection and you don't mind the psyops, I understand. Some people don't care. So if you're cool with all of that, I used to be. If you're cool with all of that, stay on Facebook. Use both. I have so many friends and family, old friends, the guy that was my best friend in like 3rd grade. John, I'm not going to say his last name, lives in Chicago. Facebook, right? You know what I mean? Well, I'm also connected with him on LinkedIn. Ba-dum, boom. That's another story. But, that's, what do you do with that? With so many people that you've hung out with, over the years that you had problems chasing down to begin with. So walking away from Facebook, but using Facebook for messages just to check back in, do a quick post, and then bail out. That's Facebook's future. They're going to be like Yahoo Messenger. Oh, yeah. I said it. Oh, man. All right. Let's go. I don't want to turn this into a Facebook bagging show, but it's so easy. It's so easy to do, especially after, look, whoever, all these phones that are lighting up, I'm not opening up the phones, okay? I'm just going to continue to just disconnect. I'm not putting anybody on hold, and you're just going to get disconnected. Watch. Man, you're not listening. Listen to the radio right now, okay? Quit clogging up my screens. Okay. Today is day 7 of OnStellar. Now, I want to say this so everybody understands exactly what I'm saying here. Today's day 7 of alpha testing. Day 7 of alpha testing. Now, we've done so many improvements, but before, for those out there that don't know what OnStellar is and is wondering what I am talking about, OnStellar is a new social media platform. Okay? Now, what you need to understand, it is based on the blockchain. The blockchain right now isn't in there yet. We're going to put that in at the end when we go ready for the launch. But right now, we're just adding features and working out bugs. It's the alpha testing version of the site. It's a social media platform. So if you are used to Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and AOL and all of those social media, Twitter, if you're used to all of that, then you're going to sign on to OnStellar, start your account, get your profile going, and you're going to be totally comfortable. All of those features and everything that you need and want in a social media platform are there, except no advertising. And if you have no data mining, no data collection, none of that is based on the blockchain. So the social media experience that you used to know and love is back. No advertising. And it's one of the things that just grabs you. It's one of the most addictive things about this that just gets all of the dopamine going is that there's no advertising. You're actually hanging out, having conversations, making friends, posting, commenting. It's incredible. And it's such a throwback old school thing. It's just a tool, right? Now, the beautiful thing about it is the blockchain is going to get added. And this world, this OnStellar world, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands on this website right now hanging out, so you can go and check it out. But this little bubble, this OnStellar bubble, is going to have its own token economy, its own money. Its own little thing. It's called an OnStellar token, ONST. It's just a little thing. And you're going to have a little digital wallet. So you're going to post, you're going to comment, you're going to like, you're going to cruise around, you're going to upload, you're going to do all of those things that you do on social media, but you're going to get rewarded. It's incredible. So if you're a content creator, you're making videos, if you're posting over on YouTube right now, posting a video, and praying for clicks and because you've got advertising and you need to get to 1,000 views per video before it gets happening, all of that, it's all gone. You don't have to worry about anything. There's no advertising. There's no nothing. You're just going to upload your video. You're going to have a video channel. It's going to be a beautiful video channel with your thing. And you're just going to have a little digital wallet that's going to fill up. How beautiful is that? All built for us. And it's incredible. You can go check it out right now. You can go and register right now at alpha.onstellar.com. All right, Rita, can you get the links up there for OnStellar for me really quick, and I'll retweet it out. But OnStellar, look at this. Look at this. Look at you guys. How beautiful is that? Mark, that's going to get a retweet every single time, my friend. Beautiful. And it's, and before you wonder, is it working? I don't get it. What do you mean social media? Have you been on Facebook? Have you been on Instagram? Have you been on Twitter? That's what it is. It's no different, and it's gorgeous, and it works, and it's fun. So go and check out OnStellar today. And I'm looking at, if you follow me on Twitter, at JChurchRadio, look at these OnStellar screen grabs off of cell phones trending right now. Look at that. That's OnStellar. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay. All right. So that's OnStellar. OnStellar. Alpha.onstellar.com. Alpha.onstellar.com. And you can use the promo code Jimmy, referral code. And there you go. Okay, OnStellar.com. Don't use the promo code. Doesn't matter to me. I just want you to go and hang out. The future has arrived. Yes, it has. There is no question about that. The future has definitely arrived. I can't believe how perfect, how beautiful the website is. Okay, I keep calling it a website. It's a platform. It's not a website. Totally different. Okay, there you go. Alpha.onstellar.com. And excuse me for that. We're coming up now in less than 4 weeks. Contact in the Desert, June 1st through the 4th, 2018. Indian Wells, Palm Springs at the Renaissance Resort and Spa. You want to go. We have 4 great days. We'll be broadcasting live Friday night. Everybody's there. Giorgio Tsoukalos, Eric Von Daniken, George Norrie, David Wilcock, Corey Good, Linda Moulton Howe, Steve Murillo. He's there. Jason Quitt is there. There's 35, 40 speakers this year. So go and check it out over at contactinthedesert.com. Get your tickets and stuff, and we'll see you out there in Palm Springs. It's going to be great. And then I just mentioned our Soul Tech Gathering up at ECETI Ranch this August 9th through the 12th. And that is up at Mount Adams, ECETI, Trout Lake, Washington, one of the most magical places on this planet, ECETI Ranch, our Soul Tech Gathering. So, of course, I'll be hanging out. I'm going to MC all weekend. We got James Gilliland speaking. We have a special guest we're about to announce, by the way. We have Michaela Sheldon, Jason Quitt, Teresa Yanaris, Matthew Ryan. Oh, John Lund is going to be hanging out. So Dana Harvey, right? So come in and get all of the information that you need over at SoulTechGathering.com. We're only selling 300 tickets, everybody. That's it. That's it, and then it's sold out. And our podcast is over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Click on that banner. $2 a month, 845 archive shows right there. $2 a month, all platforms, Apple and Android. And you can become a Fader Knight also in our membership section. 2 different things. Membership section is one. A Fader Knight is one thing. Our podcast is another. In our membership section, you do get commercial-free downloadable archives. And you can go and get all of the info that you need in our membership section on the site. All right, let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to director Wes Anderson. Today is 49. That's right, Wes Anderson. Now, one of the most influential directors in Hollywood on me personally. I'll never forget the first time I saw Bottle Rocket. Changed me. That followed that up with Rushmore back to back, and Rushmore still to this day, it's one of the most extraordinary films in the history of Hollywood, right? Wes Anderson. But then check this out. Followed that up with the Royal Tenenbaums. How about the Royal Tenenbaums? I've watched that movie. I've seen them all. I've seen all of these dozens of times. But the Royal Tenenbaums, I don't know how many times I've seen it, 50, 100? The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou, an incredible film. The Darjeeling Limited. How about the fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, and the Grand Budapest Hotel. The Grand Budapest Hotel was amazing. That's his career. Now, he's got The Isle of Dogs is his next project that was released last week, 2 weeks ago, April, something like that. And that's a pretty incredible film, too, as well. So there you go. Happy birthday, Wes Anderson. On this day in history, OTD happened in 1960. U-2 spy plane shot down while conducting espionage over the Soviet Union. Did it with a missile. They didn't think that the Russians had that tech. Well, they did. The incident derailed an important summit meeting between President Dwight D. Eisenhower and Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev. And that meeting was scheduled for the same month. Oops. Hey, JC, did you see Gibson Guitars filed for bankruptcy? Yes, I did. Well, actually, they kind of filed for bankruptcy. I mean, in a weird way, but it's a weird bankruptcy. The owner of the company just gave up his stock to the creditors, and so they own the company, and everything is going to continue. They did buy Philips Electronics, right, the consumer brand, and they just gave it away. There's something going on funky there. But Gibson's going to be hanging out. They're not going out of business. They just got new owners, and I think it's a good decision, by the way. All right, fate or fact. Okay. Now, I try to make these as interesting as possible. Okay, so listen to this. This is so cool. I didn't even mention it to Rita because I knew that we would. Gary Powers was the pilot. Gary Powers, after that, so they get him back out of the Soviet Union, and he comes over here and flies a helicopter, for a news station, traffic helicopter. There you go. Not R.I.P. Gibson. No, Jordan. Gibson's not going anywhere. See what you did? You freaked everybody out, Eddie. You don't want to freak people out. Gibson isn't going anywhere. The Les Paul's not going anywhere. Flying V's not going anywhere. Explorer's not going anywhere. I think they're getting rid of one of their some guitar division, but nonetheless. Okay, fate or fact. I try to make these as interesting as possible, and if I would have laid this on Rita today, we would have talked about this all afternoon. So I'm going to share it with you. And now you can go and talk about it. Now I want to see your tweets. All right? And everybody over in the UK, I want to hear what you have to say about this. The Queen of the UK is the legal owner of 1/6 of the Earth's land surface. Is this thing on? Did you hear what I just said? The Queen of England is the legal owner of 1/6 of the Earth's land surface. Trip on that. Think about what I just said. Think about what I just said. That's incredible. So you are cleared to go and talk about it. All right. Tonight, first-time guest Ken Johnston is here. NASA image whistleblower. He's going to be joined at the bottom of the next hour with Bret Collin, and who has found some of these, most of these anomalies in Ken's images. So we have a fantastic show lined up tonight. We've got about 8 or 10 images here that we're going to be discussing. We'll try to get them all in before the end of the show. We'll be tweeting those out, so they're going to come out on Twitter. So just relax. You're going to be able to see them all and talk about it too as well. Okay. Now, tomorrow night, Michaela Sheldon is here. Thursday night is another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom Live. I'm really enjoying everybody's screenshots that you're taking of On Stellar. And for those out there that haven't seen On Stellar yet, go over to my Twitter feed at JChurchRadio or hashtag F2B. It's very simple. Go over to my Twitter feed and go through and look at these screenshots. That is just, and that's, I can't help but hang out on, and that's why I can't get off of the website. It's so much fun. So go and look at those. Thank you for posting those. You guys are really cool, taking the time to do that. All right, so now, nothing is what it seems. Nothing. Somebody signed my yearbook. I was probably freshman year, sophomore year. And my dad, who was in the Army band, right? So I'm down in Panama, and I get my yearbook, and I was hanging out with the band one day, and there's 75, 100 of them, and I'm hanging out, and a couple of them were friends of my dad's, and I was friends. I was like 14 years old, and I had my yearbook, and I was showing everybody, my yearbook. I just got my yearbook. And one of these members, I would love to catch up to them someday, signed my yearbook. I said, "Hey, you want us to sign?" I said, "Yeah, sign my yearbook." So his name is Steve, and he signed it. And later on, I went home and I opened up the yearbook and I looked to see what he signed. And he said this: "Jimmy, you will find out that the world is never what it seems." And I stopped and I looked at that. I mean, it was, especially at that age, I'm 14. It stayed with me to this day. Here I am on the air talking about that autograph in my yearbook from 1977, 78, 20 years ago, all right? 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I just don't want to feel that old, okay? And as I went through life, for a lot of different reasons, but that signature really opened up my eyes. And I used to, that one sentence, and I used to repeat it all the time. Well, I still do, but I used to repeat it. And I used to try to sound as intelligent as what that signature, what that statement said in my yearbook, how intelligent it felt to me. So I started to use it a lot because it had so much impact. The world is never what it seems to be. Right? Never. Well, last night I talked again about some things that are going on. And, a researcher that's, he's doing his thing, and he's got a whistleblower dude in the defense industry. And so then that there's this new thing, and now there's another name for this Pentagon project that wasn't, matching this, and the old name didn't match, and the Pentagon says it doesn't. And underneath that, you have other people that are working there that are involved with these documents, and the documents that aren't secret. The documents have been out on for years, and I've had them for a year. So that there is no real whistleblower. The documents, are probably real. I'm not worried about that, but they're certainly not secret. But somebody says they want to be secret, and it was leaked to him, and all these chess pieces moving around, going from one camp into the other, into this, into that. One guy says that he's never heard of this person, but he's using that person's documents, but yet he's never heard of them. But then over on the other side, they don't know what's going on. They don't know that they're in possession of these documents. And it's like this insanity And then there's other people that are coming into the middle of it. Well, I just talked to this person and this person just talked to me and I really know what's going on. No, you don't. I really know what's going on. And no. Over there, they really, it's like this insanity. And I backed up today, and I was, had a few phone calls with some of these players that are involved in this mess. And the one that was in the middle, that's a friend of mine who I love dearly. I'm not going to name names here because I'm just not going to do it. But we were just laughing about it. Laughing and I mean in a serious way, but it's just like, here we go again. Everybody wants to be a part of the narrative. They want to be injected into the story when they are not. And I'm backing up. And my comment today to everybody, which even to Rita came in to the bunker and she's like, so what's going on? Why are you so wound up? I said, because I don't care anymore. It's just not, I don't believe, the world is not what it seems. It's not what it seems. I don't trust things. That's it. That's it. I'm not just going with this stuff anymore. I know so much and I'm hearing different things from different people and none of it lines up. And I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not going, hey, I just hung up the phone with this person and they're telling me that, and I'm going to call somebody after I'm done hanging up with you and we're going to laugh at what you're saying right now and so forth. I just don't do it. And it just makes me feel like, and especially when it comes to ufology, I step back and nothing is what it seems. Nothing. It's absolutely incredible. It's incredible. I don't know. All I know is this, is I love this audience. I have seen things in the sky. I have seen things on the ground. I have seen strange things that I can't explain. I'm trying to figure it out. And so have you. We're going to do this together. And I had said to 3 different people today, three different times, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to figure it out. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to figure it out. And when I do, I'm going to speak about it. And I put everybody on the checklist except for one, and that person knows who he is. So think about that. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, Michaela Sheldon is here. Tonight, it's Ken Johnston, and at the bottom of the next hour, Bret is going to join us. We're going to be discussing these images. Now, how did Ken get them? We will be talking about that, right? Has he avoided jail time? We're going to talk about that, too. He was employed, NASA, civilian astronaut. Yeah, think about that. We're going to discuss what that really means right after this short break. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be right back with our guest, Ken Johnston. Stay with me.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Natural Health Solutions with Chris and Ronnie.
Hey, Ronnie, how you doing?
Great, Chris.
Now, you're the CEO of GetTheTea.com, right?
Yes, I am.
What is GetTheTea.com? I mean, is this tea you buy in a store?
Well, no, it's not. Life Change Tea is just that, life-changing. Life Change Tea is an herbal tea that gently cleanses your body from intruders.
What do you mean by intruders?
Well, intruders are toxins, chemicals, GMOs, heavy metals, and more. They're in our food, in our water, in our air we breathe.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
And Life Change Tea will help you with removing these, as you say, intruders?
That's right, Chris.
Are there side effects with this tea?
Well, you might lose a little weight. When you clean your colon, you lose weight, you feel better, and you have more energy.
Wow. Ronnie, where can people purchase Life Change Tea?
Oh, that's easy. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for being on the show. People, don't forget, GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Win big with KGRA this summer. Tickets and hotel accommodations to the biggest conferences, autographed books and DVDs, chances to win all-inclusive conference cruises, and private dinners with your favorite KGRA hosts. Click the contest tab at kgraradio.com for your chance to win big this summer. Your contact for the best alternative talk radio on the planet. kgraradio.com.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Yeah. I guess the word tonight is yeah. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by Life Change Tea. That's right. Starting with their super strength tea, we use it every single day. All of the products here, friends, family, staff at Fade to Black. Use the promo code FADER, FADER. And the banners are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Yeah. Ken Johnston Sr. was one of 4 civilian astronaut consultant pilots from the Apollo moon program. Ken is a retired aerospace worker, served as a U.S. Marine, and is a well-known NASA whistleblower. Ken is well-known because he was a witness to history, to NASA image manipulation. And he saved an archive of early Apollo-era photos that are original to the time before NASA digitized and created an online database of images. Johnston used a loophole in his orders that he was given to destroy 5 sets of 8x10 glossy photo prints from the Apollo program. When he worked in the data and photo control lab in Houston during the moon missions, he saved a set for his own records. His archive is prized by researchers and lunar anomaly hunters because it has been discovered that there has been an intentional, systematic, physical, and digital manipulation of NASA imagery and media in order to cover up what was found on the moon and recorded in film and photos by the Apollo astronauts. Johnston was born at Fort Sam Houston, Texas in 1942, grew up in Texas, Oklahoma, and studied at the Oklahoma Military Academy and the Oklahoma City University before he enlisted in the military. Ken enlisted in the U.S. Marines in August 1962 and reported to Pensacola as a Marine aviation cadet for flight training in September 1964. Before Ken left the United States Marine Corps in 1966, he had earned his FAA pilot's license as a single and multi-engine instrument-rated flight instructor and was a qualified avionics technician. His book is called Ken's Moon, Revealing the Dark Mission of NASA. And his links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. I would like to welcome for the first time to Fade to Black, Mr. Ken Johnston. Ken, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Jimmy. I'm doing a lot better right now.
Well,
now that we're all set up.
Yeah, well, to me, Ken, these days, and welcome to the program, but these days, Ken, I've done so many shows over the years, I don't get rattled. It's all good. Okay, so don't you worry about a thing, man. Let's have some fun tonight. And in the next hour, everybody, Bret Collin is going to be here too as well. I met all of you before we get started. I met all of you out at Roswell, and Rita and I really enjoyed our time together, and finally we've got you on the show. Took a couple of years, but you're here, and I know that you're on your way up to Canada for a conference up there. We'll talk about that tonight. But first, you get the first-time guest disclaimer. Yeah. Are you ready, Ken? Which is this.
Oh, yeah.
It's just you and I sitting on my couch having a conversation as friends. And where the conversation starts, it starts. Where it ends. But we're going to end as friends. You ready to go?
I'm all set.
Okay. Okay. Let's. I want to hear about your background and the reason why. And it's not. With most interviews, you do want to know about, the background of your guests for the audience. But for me, I'm really interested in it because I'm a military brat. I wanted to do the life that you did. I mean, that was everybody's dream. Every kid of the 60s and the 50s and the 60s wanted your career path, and that's exactly what you did. So let's go back when all of this excitement was happening. Mercury, right, and Gemini, and friendships, and the original astronauts. All of that was such an exciting time for the country. So I'm assuming you were all wrapped up in it, weren't you?
Yes, I was. Yeah, and it was actually, you left out one of them there. You had the Mercury and Gemini, and we had the Apollo. Then we had Skylab, and that only lasted a short period of time. And then one of the things I was, let me go back to the very beginning and say how I wound up there. And looking back over the history, I'm kind of jealous of what I got to do too.
Yes,
I just hope I can keep the memory going because it's fantastic. And so many people nowadays that weren't even born when we were doing what we did. They come up and they say, the Earth is flat, probably. But they say, we didn't go to the moon with this, that. And I kind of love it occasionally because I'll tell them, say, okay, let me ask you a question now. You know what a Hubble telescope is? Oh, yeah, I know that. Okay. And we do have satellites that go around the moon. Oh, yeah, that's fine. And you know that with the Hubble telescope, they can zoom in on each one of the Apollo landing sites, and you can find the descent stage of the lunar module still sitting at that website. At that site on the moon. And then you can find the rover that they drove around on it after Apollo 14 and 15, 16, and 17. And I said, so how did those get there if we didn't go to the moon? And I usually get kind of a long pause and okay, I'm going to have to think about it. I said, yeah, you should think about it before you open your mouth. So that's I get Buzz Aldrin got so mad he turned around and decked that one guy that was saying that he lied that he didn't go. So
yes.
Interesting.
Yes. And we debate that. We debate that all the time on this show. Did we go or not? And my answers are actually a little more unique than if we went or not. I think we went, but we went in a parallel program That's my opinion.
True.
That's my opinion. But we'll spend a whole show talking about that. But let's go back. Did you have a favorite astronaut before you got into the program?
Oh, not before Well,
they made the announcement 1958, right? When they the original 7. So, I mean, everybody had a favorite astronaut. You had your astronaut trading cards. It didn't matter how old you were.
Well, yes, and I did get to work with every one of them whenever I joined the NASA team back in 1966. The one that became my number one friend, see, I guess I didn't pick out any one of them because they were all so important and exciting to even know that they were there. John Glenn, and he probably was my number one. And then, of course, Alan B. Sheppard was the first one to go suborbital. And then later he got paid. They kept him from being able to fly again because he was number one to go into space for America. And then finally, near the end, Apollo, I guess that was 16. I'm just guessing off the top of my head here.
Right.
That he got to go. Now, Jim Irwin, though, actually was the number one friend of mine.
Irwin, really? And what? Yeah, I always liked him a lot. I liked them all. I was the opposite. John Glenn was at the bottom of my list. I always thought he was kind of boring. But my guy was Gordon Cooper. And all growing up, Gordon Cooper. Now, what he means to our community today is something else. I didn't know about any of that in 1968. But Gordon Cooper, I thought he was the coolest dude ever, man. I really, and he had the coolest name as well. So, but my guy was Cooper.
You didn't call him Gordo?
I know.
We called him Gordo.
Did you really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to talk about Irwin for a second because I've always thought he was really, really cool. What was he like?
Jim, you need to know the background. He was a test pilot, and he was in, what was that crazy big airplane? It crashed, and he got burned pretty bad, and they didn't think that, he was ever going to be able to fly again. And jokingly, he told me that here he was in the hospital. He had bandages all over his arms, his hands, and his body and stuff, and his wife comes in, and he said she took one look at him, and he says, "You darn near burned it off, didn't you?" That's how close of friends we were. But then what he did, then he was picked up by the Apollo program, and his duty was to be one of the few of the original astronauts that came over and to the Chamber B at the Johnston Space Center. It was called the Manned Spacecraft Center at the time until Johnson became president, and then they changed it over to the Johnston Space Center. Anyway, he and I would spend hours and hours and days inside the lunar module doing testing of all the systems. He is the only person that has had as many hours inside the lunar module testing than I did. I wound up with over 3,000 hours testing that thing inside the vacuum chambers. But I never made it off the planet Earth yet. Dadgummit.
So, that's funny.
Let's say I haven't made it off with the space program for half hour in the space program. We'll talk about that sometime.
Now, I watched a documentary the other day about the women astronauts that were also part of the program that most don't know much about. It's a great documentary, but one of them said she felt that the women that were involved in the program were all different and all unique, but that the original 7 astronauts were interchangeable. They were absolutely identical in personality, in professionalism, in their abilities, in their size, their physical size, their backgrounds, their religious beliefs, their education. And she felt that they were kind of faceless. It was done by intention, she said, but they were completely interchangeable. You were hanging out with these guys. Do you have that same feeling? Her comment surprised me.
No, it surprises me. I've never heard that before. I would say that she didn't get to know them personally. Because now here's my reaction to that is that because the guys, when we were off duty and we were having fun, they know how to party and have a great time. But the second you go into, as test pilots, you are so cold. I'll give you an example. We would have some of the companies that built some of the hardware equipment inside the lunar module or command module. They would come to give a lecture or talk to us about how their systems work. And the astronauts are sitting there, we're sitting there, and, they're looking at each other, shaking it, and one of them sticks up and says, excuse me, I'd like for you to leave the room for a minute to the instructor, the guy, probably the engineer or designer that designed the equipment, says, please step out of it, we need to have a talk. So he talked to the other guy, says, we're not getting the information the way we need it. We need to get them to get somebody else in. So the point I'm getting at is when they are doing something serious, which could have been taking their life and testing aircraft and jets and spacecraft, they are rock cold, solid, exactly the same. But when they want to play, they're play, and they know how to have a good time. So I don't think she got to know them like I got to know them.
Now, with these images that you have, and we'll look at some of these in a bit, and we'll get Bret on the show. But in these images, did the astronauts see what they were taking pictures of?
Well, the Hasselblad camera, and this probably is where the question comes from, is mounted on the chest of the spacesuit, actually right in front of the dials and gauges that you can verify that your suit is keeping the proper pressure and the amount of oxygen that you need, as well as your communications system. Let's see. I don't want to have a dropout here. I told you before we came on that sometimes because I was in an auto accident barely a year ago where I had a little bit of a head injury, and I'll sometimes drop out a little bit. This is for the people that are listening in, because if I stop for a moment, it'll be, okay, I've got to get recentered here. And you were asking me about the
images. They
back on board.
Yeah, they weren't looking through the Hasselblad, because the Hasselblad is mounted to their suit. But they are looking. Right. Were they seeing what turned out in these images? Do you think that they were seeing what they were shooting?
Well, in most cases, they do. Now, they went to the Grand Canyon, as well as going over to a meteor crater, and with it strapped on your chest, you get used to knowing exactly how to move your body, because it's going to be frozen solid to that spot on your chest. And they practiced till they knew exactly how to not even focus too, but to zero in on the subject, particularly if they're going to do a panorama of the landing site where they're at. They'll stand in one spot, they'll take a picture, do a slight little turn to the right, and take another and another one, until they made a 360-degree circle. And each time the camera is at the same level. So yeah, they knew where they were taking the picture, but as far as some of the details, they didn't actually know all of them were there. And then there's an awful lot of stuff that they did see that they never came forward for. I mean, Dr. Edgar Casey, astronaut, Edgar Casey, yeah.
Edgar Mitchell.
Ed Mitchell.
Yes.
Hey, there you go, Ed Mitchell. He found out a lot of stuff that he brought back and talked about things that he discovered and saw. So the answer is a double yes and no. Yes, they did know where they were shooting, what they were taking pictures of, and how to do it with the camera where it was mounted and all. But were they aware of all of the stuff that they were getting pictures? The cameras don't lie. They picked up images and things that you wouldn't normally see through the visor, because we had to have the visor with the gold plating down in front, so that we weren't getting blinded when we turned in towards the sun. So I'm sure there are a lot of things that didn't show up looking through the actual spacesuit helmet.
Now, because of their training and their backgrounds, if they did see anything, would they ever talk about it? Did you ever hear a conversation about anything strange at all?
Not much more than what most everybody else has heard. I mean, was it Gus Grissom? I was trying to think. The guys coming back on one of the first loops around the moon, and at Christmas time, and they're saying, here comes Santa Claus. We can see Santa Claus heading that way. Well, those were some code words they would use to describe the fact that we were being followed. It was like Buzz and Neil and Mike on Apollo 11. They had this light, and this object got close up. They could see pretty much what it was, but they weren't sure. They contacted Mission Control, and before they called, they decided that. And I talked to Mike Collins about it, and he said that, well, we didn't want to alert anybody that was listening in, so we just asked them where the S4B was, and they came back and told us, so many thousands of miles of this particular angle from where the command module was at that time. So, they pretty much were aware, and some of the others have come forward and said, we were actually followed all the way to the moon for our landing. But the biggest problem, like Neil Armstrong, he was a totally different person when he came back. And you've seen him in interviews where he looked like stone cold.
Yes.
And was only going to say what he was supposed to say, and that was it. And not a hermit, I can't think of the proper term, but he was a college professor and served out the rest of his life there at the university and all, and never came forward and discussed anything. And that's the problem when you're that close to things. And I got pretty close to that too, with Dr. Thornton Page, who was the director of the Lunar and Planetary Science Department at the Johnston Space Center. Outside, it used to be the real rich man's mansion. They turned it into a visiting place for scientists. Anyway, Dr. Thornton Page, and near the ending of his life, he talked about, we did change things up a little bit on people, and so that they didn't know for sure what they said. And I also talked to some of the people that had come back, and one of the first things that happens is debriefing. And I don't know well, but he might know it. There was a woman psychologist, psychiatrist, psychologist that debriefed the astronauts and pretty much blocked their memory on things that they were not to discuss it. And I can say that because Edgar Mitchell pretty well outlined that. And although I was never put through that kind of de-brain, de-washing, so I wouldn't talk about things. That's why now with my archive and things, I feel it happened back in 1996 when Richard Hoagland took me to the National Press Club in Washington, D.C., and the whole point of that was to make me so publicly known that nothing, he said nothing could happen to me, because the concern was there are people that died taking the secrets of the space program with them. And the only way to protect me, in his case, he says, is to make it so well known around the world public that they have to take care of you. And I feel very, very comfortable with coming forward now with the information and material that I saved all those years.
Well, we've got 5 minutes before the break. You were one of 4 Civilian Astronaut Consultant Pilots. Well, what is that exactly? I mean, so yeah, for the audience, what are we talking about here?
Okay, in Grumman, the one that built the lunar module, in my case, we were the ones that substituted for the NASA astronauts. We had all the training about the spacecraft and everything before the astronauts did. Our job was to actually test it, substituting for the NASA astronauts in the vacuum chambers, being sure that all the systems worked well, and then work with the astronauts. The astronauts would just show up sometimes over at the Apollo Lunar Surface Information also place where we had the vacuum chambers, and then they would come inside, because we weren't pumped to vacuum, only just probably not more than 10% of the time over the several years. But they would suit up in the clean suit and come up inside the chamber and come up and get inside the spacecraft we were, and spend hours in there with us while we were doing testing of each and all of the equipment in there. So. And
what were did you have to go through the same type of training? Tell me about that.
Only as far as the avionics and the technical capabilities of the lunar module and everything, yes, we had all the same training that the regular astronauts had. In fact, we had it before they had it, and we were part of the training that helped them get the information they needed to be able to fly and go to the moon. So we were one step ahead of what's going on there. It was just the way in which the company Grumman, in case they built the lunar module, and let's see, the command module, golly, don't see, they were our competition. I can't remember. Was Lockheed Martin or something. Anyway, the ones that built the command module had the same situation. In fact, my first cousin, Captain Don Garrett, Air Force captain, did the same thing in the command module as I was doing in the lunar module. So here you have two first cousins doing the same job but in different spacecraft. It was quite a unique experience. And my brother, Dr. A.R. Johnston, was a direct NASA employee, where Don Garrett was an Air Force captain, and I was the civilian, so I was considered a civilian astronaut consultant pilot, so that I was the one to answer the questions.
Now, when they were on their missions, what was your job?
Oddly as it may seem, my job, since there were four of us, we would decide who was going to be in the MOCR, or the Mission Operation Control Room, outside of the Mission Control Room. And that is, if anything went wrong, they had to have one of us from Grumman or from the other company for the command module, and other engineers that designed the equipment available in the event that a problem came up. And, of course, that's what happened with Apollo 13. Whenever the oxygen equipment inside the service module connected to the command module exploded, and we almost lost the whole crew there. But by having I wasn't in on that one. I had moved over, and I was working on Skylab at the time, but I did go over and talk to the guys, and they were telling me about that when the mission control director came in and dumped the box of equipment and everything else, and all the little bits and pieces of the equipment, from masking tape to plastic covers over document protectors and things like that, on the table, and says, failure is not an option. Find a way to get them back. So that's kind of how close I was to being right in the middle of everything. In fact, that I was in the middle of most of it. It's just what we did whenever we went, sent Apollo 11 to the moon, once they launched, my job basically was over with the lunar module. I went on vacation for 2 weeks, went to New York where my wife's family was. I got to watch the walk on the moon over in South Bound Brook, New Jersey. For those people who know that. And then when I got back, I was going over to be a part of the Skylab portion for Grumman, because they were using the asset stage to put a big telescope like Hubble on the spacecraft. I go into work, and my dear friend and immediate boss, supervisor, said, I don't know how to tell you this, but while you were gone, they changed the program from being research and development going to the moon. It was now routine missions to the moon, just regular. And Grumman laid off over 30,000 employees nationwide. And he says, your job was home Scott. And said they canceled that. And Grumman gave me 2 weeks of severance pay. They gave me 2 weeks additional pay to help me find a job. And that's when I was able to turn right on and go over to the Lunar Receiving Laboratory and go to work and became the Data and Photo Control Department.
Let's take a... I'm sorry, Ken. I didn't mean to interrupt. I've got to take a break I've got to take a break right here. So let's do that. Our guest tonight, Ken Johnston.
Okay.
And we'll be right back after this short break. NASA Image Whistleblower. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. More with Ken right after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go Beckley Tappy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And this is Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers. We're of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
Ancient Life Oil. Life-changing. The real oil. CBD is truly ancient life oil from the source. This oil has no psychoactive effect and is also legal in all 50 states. When you're healthy, you're happy. The truth about this wonderful plant is that it wants to give back to mankind life, longevity, and happiness. Ancient Life Oil are golden grade, all organic, non-GMO, and infused with high-quality liquid coconut oil. It's simple. Just go to ancientlifeoil.com today. That's ancientlifeoil.com. The best, purest, organic, and non-GMO CBD in the world. Go Beckley Tappy. The statements made regarding these products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Please consult your healthcare professional about potential interactions or other possible complications before using any product.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. It's dark and smoky. It's the best coffee in the world. Promo code F2B blend will get you 15% off of your order. Go visit River Moon Coffee today. The banners are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Our guest tonight, Ken Johnston Sr., NASA image whistleblower. Now, Ken, let's start to get to the nuts and bolts of all of this. You were working for NASA at the time and started to notice this image manipulation. How did that happen? Were they publishing images? You were looking at images and you saw that they weren't the same, or how did that go down?
Well, actually, I think one of the first places that I was aware of it was at the end of the Gemini program. One of the astronauts got a severe nosebleed inside the spacecraft, and he had used his hand, the glove, and he'd wiped it on the fabric insulation on the inside of the hatch. You know, Gemini had two doors that opened, the hatches that opened up that they could come out of their seats. At any rate, I turned around. I had a copy of the original picture that was taken that he was getting ready to go EVA in space, and the picture I had the blood stains on the side of that. Well, the picture that was released to the press and went out to the world, that was all smudged out and painted over and looked just perfectly normal. Well, of course, the idea was that, you know, the astronauts were the greatest hero, and that we could have, and we couldn't have them have just a normal little nosebleed. So that was my first experience with it. I guess one of the big clinchers for me was when I was as I said, the director of the Data and Total Control Department at the Lunar Receiving Laboratory, and Dr. Thornton Page, the director of the Lunar and Planetary Science Department, asked me to pull a 16 millimeter film from the Apollo 14 mission and set up a showing for him and 6 of the other scientists, engineers, over in the building 7 next to Mission Control. And so I went over to the photo lab, and the photo lab is where they actually processed all of the film brought back, and it was made in 3 sections. The front area, when you would first go in, would be like going up to a counter, and you could order or request a copy of a particular picture or what have you, and that's where you'd get them. Then the next, going through there into the next room, is where they'd have light tables and places set up where you could study and look at the equipment or the video, not videos, but I mean the film.
Yep, the negatives.
But remember, that was before, we were dealing with the negatives and things, not electronic CDs and stuff that this new generation, that's all I know. Anyway, in there, you could sit down at the light tables and do your research. And then the final room in the back was kept hermetically sealed and controlled so that keep the negatives and pictures and the light and everything and maintain it at a certain temperature and humidity, etc. Well, Dr. Page had me set up this showing, and I'm over there and I'm showing the 16 millimeter. Now, for the audience, a gun sequence camera. If you've ever seen movies of fighters flying their aircraft and they're firing their guns at another aircraft and then chasing, when you've seen all these little streaks going out.
Right.
Well, a gun sequence camera takes a picture each time one of those happens. And later, whenever you play it, you're looking at just a few of the rounds that are going up. In this case, we used it because we could freeze the picture, zoom in close, back up, etc. And I had experience in that since I had been through flight training in the Marine Corps, and Dr. Thornton Page knew I had that training, so he had to keep it privately. Since those years, I've discovered that I came very, very close to being part of the secret space program, but you'll understand in a moment, as soon as I finish talking, why I probably would have dropped out and became a whistleblower, that they want to call me that. I didn't ask for the name. Anyway, so I'm showing this real 60 millimeter film, and this was taken from the inside of the lunar module out the window, and they're approaching a crater on the backside of the moon called Tsiolkovsky, named after, most of the Russians named most all the big craters and things on the backside of the moon after their scientists and engineers. Anyway, we're approaching Tsiolkovsky, and the sun angle at this time made the bottom of the crater, about half of it was in shadow because of the angle, about 45 degrees sun angle. And as we're approaching Tsiolkovsky crater, and the shadow in there, there was a illuminated in the shadow. There was, the way I explain it is, if you'll take your hand, turn it palm up, and all 5 of your fingers together, and look at the tips of them, it's like little round bubbles that are opaque and illuminated from the inside. Well, that's what we were looking at, and he had me freeze and zoom in and zoom out and back up and approach again. And he turned to the other side and said, "Well, boys, what do you think of that?" And they all laughed like it was an inside joke. And I didn't think about it at the time, because the next day I was scheduled to take the same reel of film and show it to the rank and file, and I was under the impression I was going to be able to show them something we had discovered on the backside of the moon, most likely was an alien base. And anyway, so I'm finishing up the show. Oh, Dr. Page said finish it up. I finished showing up about the last 15 minutes, packing things up. I'm trying to listen to the 7 of them talking, but I didn't get any information there. I took the film back, checked it in the photo lab, and I was on my way back to the Lunar Receiving Laboratory where my office was. I ran into Dr. Page and I said, "Dr. Page, what happened to, I jumped ahead, excuse me. The next day I checked out the same reel, same number, and went to the main auditorium at the Johnston Space Center and set up a showing during lunch for the rank and file NASA and the contractors and people like that. And I had my brother come in the projection booth to show it, and because I hadn't even told him what it was. I was keeping the secret. And here we are, we're showing the film, and they were cutting on the backside. We're approaching Tsiolkovsky, and there's the shadowed area, and there's nothing there. And I stopped the film, told the audience, I'm having technical difficulties, just a moment, took the film out. In 24 hours, they had to have taken the film, copied it, enlarged it, painted out what they wanted to paint out, shrunk it down, put it back in, and then replaced the reel with one that had been doctored.
Wow.
Anyway, I fixed it, put it all back together, and my brother said, well, what was so big about that? And I said, well, we actually found a base on the moon. And it took a while for me to convince him of that, and then he had some other experiences similar to that. He's passed away now. Anyway, so I finished that up. I took and put it back in the photo lab, and I'm going back to the LRL, and I run into Dr. Page, and I said, Dr. Page, what happened to those domes and things we found on the inside of Tsiolkovsky crater? Now, if you look at pictures of Dr. Page, he looks like a pirate because he had an eye injury that took an eye out completely, and he wore a patch over one eye.
Right.
I'm serious. That's why he wanted to do it. He looked at me, and he took the one good eye, and he held it down closed for a moment. He says, there was never anything there. And then he walked on. And so that was my first clue that, we had secrets and things going on. Then other times when I was, there was later. Yeah. Well, you want to ask another question on that, because I'm saving a really good one here for a minute.
Yeah, well, but now that's a crazy thing to go through, right? Alien base, dark side of the moon. You saw it now. Now it's not there in the film. You know that there's a conspiracy, right? There's something going on here. How do you, and especially back then, how do you start to digest these kinds of thoughts in your mind?
Well, it was really tough on me. And in fact, after we all got laid off, so many of us, that's the way the contracts were run. They were run at about a 3-year contract each. And at the end of that, you'd either get transferred to another contract or have to go to another company and stuff like that. And so, we made good salaries. But the problem is you might be out of work for a month, 2 months, 3 months, and there goes the advantage of having the higher salary. It was really kind of tough. It was fantastic because we were out on the cutting edge. And I have to admit, I was just about as much as the rest of them thinking that here we were out on the cutting edge and we were pushing science, going to the moon that no one else had been on. And now to suddenly discover that what people had been saying about UFOs and alien bases or things like that on the moon, and here I was privy to actually seeing that. Now, here's something. I kept the archive and things hidden and was totally quiet about it until 1995. And it was just my personal archive that I'd saved all those years. And then finding out that people were, like where Buzz had decked somebody for calling him a liar and not really going there. I was privy to the fact of all the things that we found and did and saw on the moon. And so here I am now trying to...
Your sets of images, those are all first generation right off the original negatives, right?
It's the first copy off the original negatives. Some people say, well, it's not the original. It is the original positive transparencies on some of the Hasselblad. I kept the Hasselblad 70 millimeter Hasselblad positive transparencies that they took as well. I have also that.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Slow down. You've got the original Hasselblad 70 millimeter negatives?
These are not, what they would do with the original is they would make a first generation copies of the original negative.
Right.
Then they would make the future copies off of the copy so that you don't, we don't want to, all of the lights and things in processing, when you're using the same negative over and over and over. We kept those as a first time use, and then those are the ones we use. I've seen pictures that were made, a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, so bad that you couldn't tell there was anything on the moon, let alone a 120-mile across crater nearly. And people are still looking and say, oh, that moon is so fantastic. They have no clue about what it really looks like when you're looking at the original negatives.
Yeah, I can imagine.
First-generation pictures.
So,
that was Bret Sheppard's problem. When he first time saw my archive, it was like, oh my God, what do you have here?
Now, yeah, totally. I keep saying Bret Collin. It's Bret Sheppard. Everybody. His website is anyway. The loophole for you. You were told to destroy 5 sets of these prints. What was the loophole, and how did you get out of it? And how did you smuggle them out? Did you smuggle them out did you put them down in your pants? Did you walk out in a briefcase? Did you tuck them in your sock?
You're getting real personal now.
I need to know. I mean,
I'll tell you exactly. It's the first time anyone has asked me that close of what really took place. As the director of the Data and Photo Control Department, I maintained 5 complete sets of all the pictures taken on each mission, as well as the videos, as well as the Hasselblad transparencies, and even the transcribed communications of the communications between the astronauts and the spacecraft and the Earth Mission Control. So I had all of that in 5 complete sets, and when scientists from around the world would come to the LRL, Lunar Receiving Laboratory, to pick up their sample of lunar soil or rocks or what have you, they would want to have copies of pictures from orbit showing the general area of where they were, and then from the lunar surface taken from the cameras with the astronauts, the orientation of their sample, because it made a difference as to how much solar radiation and the angle that they would be getting on their samples. So here I had 15 filing cabinets, that folders, a separate folder for every single picture, and even their the records that they would initially write up, which I helped on those. Is when the geologists would do their first analysis, we would have put together a report, and I had a staff of secretaries that would type it all up and make those of it. Anyway, I had all that information, a group of 5 of them, and then Bud Lascala, who was my immediate supervisor from the contractor working for NASA there at the LRL, came in and said, "Well, Ken, need to get rid of all but 1 set of those pictures and things you got there." And I go, whoa, we paid for that with our tax money. There are colleges and universities that have science departments would love to have some of these pictures and things. He said, "Nope, you got to get rid of them all. Just keep one." And I argued with him for a little bit, and he got a little frustrated with it. And here's the key words. He said, "I don't care what you do, just get rid of them except for 1." Okay, all right, I did. I took 3 sets. I went out, threw them in the density dumpster, which is very interesting. Bret can tell you, Donna Hara became a friend only just a few years ago. She and a friend actually discovered the pictures I'd thrown in the density dumpster and had saved a bunch of them there. And those were first-generation pictures. Anyway, so here I had 3 sets dumped in the dumpster. I had to keep 1 set as a control there at the LRL for when people would come in and they would look at the pictures and decide if they wanted to order that particular picture from the photo lab. And then there was the number 5 set that I had kept for myself. Each time I had orders for it, I would order 1 extra one. And I didn't know if we were going to have an emergency, and I'd have to pull it from there because we didn't have the pictures ready for scientists around the world taking them. So here I have this whole set, and I'm trying to decide, well, what am I going to do with this? And being a good Marine, I have a duffel bag, and I worked late nights. I worked around the clock sometimes, and no one's there, so I just put them all inside my duffel bag and went out to the parking lot, put them in my car, and then once my shift was over, I hopped in and drove home, and I put them in the houses that we had central heat and air conditioning and a vent in one wall where the return vent was, and I just unscrewed the bolts and back and stuck the whole batch right in there for, 10, 15 years, and until 1980. In 1980 is whenever they had such a tremendous cutback in employees for NASA and contractors that I wound up going to work for Mark Marietta in Denver, Colorado, and then on out to Vandenberg, which gets into some very interesting things that I discovered there. I was always right in the edge of where some of the most fantastic things were happening and taking place, and it actually took until I ran into people like Bret Sheppard and his contactors. He even tells me that some of the things he didn't believe was possible until he met me and saw the pictures and found out that I wasn't lying. My mother always said, always tell the truth. That way you don't have to worry about what you told who, when, and where. And if it's something that's important to you, save it, because it may become important to other people. And that's how I got to the point to where I am now. And somebody came up with this whistleblower thing. And
well, how many images are we talking about here? How many prints and how many negatives?
I never have counted them. Several hundred. Now that was the other thing is. At the same period of time when I was there at the LRL, a lot of people were being laid off. The number of people needed to run the program was diminished, and there's something called I call it a flip stand. It's about 3.5 feet long, and document protector things that are wired into it to like a big giant book binder, if you'd say, and they threw those out the dumpster, so I kept 2 of those, and I kept pictures in document protectors all these years, so that they weren't subject to too much oxygen and deterioration over the years. So even the pictures that I have, some of them are like nearly 50 years old, are still in excellent condition because of the way I kept them.
Has anybody asked for them back?
No. Well, yes. Interesting you should say that. Right after we finished the Apollo program, there was a group of people, and I call them men in black or whatever, because they were weird individuals, went up to all of our people, because several people told me it happened to them too, came to the house, and they said they were looking for any documents or records or blueprints or anything that we may have kept of the Saturn V and the command modules and lunar modules and all of that stuff. And I looked at him with a dumb look. I don't know what you're talking about. No, those are left at the LRL. And that was the end of it.
Did they suspect anything, or was this something that they did with everybody?
They did it with everybody.
Right.
So I wasn't picked out at the time. I got zeroed out while I was after the Skylab, and I went to work over at TRW. Well, actually, no, I left the whole space program for about 6 months, and for a while there, we had more PhD scientists selling newspapers on the streets in Houston than any place else in the world until they could find jobs. The attitude finally was, we went to the moon, we did what we did, and now they have to try to get back into the society and doing what their specialties were. So these scientists and engineers started disappearing. I mean no disrespect to the people that stayed with NASA and all, but the majority of the people that stayed didn't have the technology or the education to be able to run the kind of programs they did. In fact, I went back for a news thing after I went public, and one of the guys says, "Oh my God, you're one of those guys that helped us do it. We couldn't do it today, and that was just it. The ones that stayed probably weren't the brightest ones of the bunch." And as I said, no disrespect. There's some brilliant people that stayed because they decided this is what they wanted to serve out the rest of their life. And that's the other thing. I'm now 50. Well, if you're dyslexic, I'm only 57. But if you're not, I'm really 75. So. That works for me.
Well, what about and 75? You don't look or act 75.
Chronologically.
Yeah. You mentioned lunar rocks. Did you handle any of those? I don't want to know if you have any. I'm not going to ask you that question, but.
Oh, well, no, I don't. But I'll tell you what. I have a little box here it's a cube. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch by 1 inch. And inside it, I have some funny looking little rocks that have little pores on them. And they could pass for some of the moon rocks that I'm rattling them down in this box right now. They could pass. In fact, this little box was one of the boxes that we would put samples in, a cardboard box that he used. And to my knowledge, it's really not a piece of lunar material, because if it was, they would be coming after me to to take it back.
Yeah, they would come after you for the lunar rocks. So you didn't. Okay, Did you ever feel, we're going to take a break here, did you ever feel weird? Do you feel guilty? Or now you can look back and go, wow, I'm glad that I did that. But did you ever feel weird, like you were stealing?
Like, was I stealing? No, I think it'd be more like I was preserving.
Right.
Okay. Well, after you're put in a situation where you see that things are being hidden, and it wasn't what we were supposed to be doing, going to the moon and accomplishing.
Right.
You get to the point, and when we get back, I'll talk a little bit about some of the things I was a part of at the Vandenberg Air Force Base and the testing of the MX missile rockets and all that good stuff. So we were with top secret clearances. There are things that we didn't talk about, and it's been a long, long, long time, and it's about time the people come forward with information that they have.
Now, and one last quick question, and then we'll take a break and get Bret in here. Much has been made about the removal of the crosshairs from the Hasselblad. Do you make much of that? The removal of the crosshairs, where they did it for publishing and press releases?
Well, that was pretty typical of things. Actually, we didn't have the digital capabilities back then. We just had to make a copy and put Visine on the top, and they would paint out things they wanted to, and then they would reproduce the pictures. And the press, as a rule, would get those where they had painted out the crosshairs that were on the cameras. But no, they were doing that everywhere. They were even doing that back in the Mercury and Gemini program too. So it wasn't a big shock that kind of stuff was going on until it got to be some of the things that I was very close to, and like, wow, where did that information go? And that's one of the nice things is the pictures and things that I have still have all the crosshairs. One of the biggest things we do, and I'll do it a little faster, is the portable life support system that they had on their back, which was providing the oxygen and pressure for their spacesuits. Had an antenna sticking up, an HF antenna, and it's such a thin little wire sticking up that when they're trying to paint out things that were behind the astronauts, they would have to just paint out the antenna. So when you're looking at one of the old pictures, like I have, and you see the antenna, and then you look at the latest ones that you ordered from NASA, and the antenna's gone, then you very quickly can see, oh, that's why they painted that out. There's something there.
Yeah, very interesting. All right, let's take our break, and we'll get Bret in here. Bret Sheppard will be joining us right after the break, and we'll start going through these images. I've got about 8 or 10 here, and we'll go through those with both Ken and Bret. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Hurricanes, earthquakes, wildfires. This year we've experienced more than our fair share. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and last month I decided to make sure my family does not have to worry about food should we get caught in a real emergency situation. Introducing Numana, a healthy, storable product that tastes so good that you'll want to eat it every day instead of just during those times of duress. All Numana products have a 25-year shelf life, are MSG and GMO-free, no preservatives, and are made in America. With the Numana pack in your home, you'll be able to sleep at night knowing that you've protected your family. Not only have I tasted and tested, I own it. Now you can too. Just click on the Numana banner on jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code Jimmy when you order. In addition to a discount, we'll send you an autographed Fade to Black t-shirt. Seriously, go Beckley Tappy.
Do you worry a lot? Whether you're a college student, busy professional, parent, or grandparent, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in 1 to 2 weeks. Call 1-800-758-8746 or calmandclever.com.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRAradio.com.
Hi, folks. CBD is the home run hitter for health right now. Why, you ask? Because of what it does for the body. Unfortunately, I can't tell you all about the benefit. You know, there's reasons. Do your due diligence and log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com. Ancient Life Oil uses organic ingredients and is blended in coconut oil for some of the best benefits. Legal in 50 states and non-psychoactive. Log on to ancientlifeoil.com. That's ancientlifeoil.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back to Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. This segment of Fade to Black is proudly brought to you by New Pharma, GNU Pharma. Go and read about the science at newpharma.com. Click on the banners at Jimmy Church Radio. Promo code F2B. And you'll get 33% off of your order. And I would like to welcome to the program Bret Sheppard. Bret, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
It's good to hear your voice, and it was good hanging out with you back at Roswell, and the work that you have done and finding this stuff is absolutely incredible. We've got, of course, Ken is right here with us too as well. And now I've got a collection of these images here, and thank you for getting those to us. Your website is BretCollin.com, BretCollin.com, and everybody can go and read about Bret's work and his books and so forth. They're right there. When you first started to look at, now the amount of information is overwhelming. I remember talking to you guys there at Roswell, and I'm looking at all of this stuff, and my head started swimming. But it takes somebody like yourself to go and look at these images. You've got to compare them to the originals. As you started to pick this stuff out, what went through your mind?
Well, I would say that the first very recognizable thing that is different in Ken's images that you don't see on the official NASA websites is all of the completely blackened out backgrounds in all the lunar skies and all space images. And there's a couple of reasons for that. When I look at Ken's images, I actually see things flying around, and I actually see Venus. So there are things in the lunar sky, and of course, the astronauts came back and said that they could not see stars even with their own eyes.
Yeah, I remember the famous press conference where they kind of looked at each other. What? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They were looking all sad for other reasons, and it was what you suspected that NASA is a propaganda outfit, and there is another secret space program alongside of that, and has been the whole time. And that's why NASA astronauts had seen craft on the way to the moon and back.
Now, why so much has been made about, the no stars in the background? And so you're looking at Ken's images. You just said Venus. Well, I don't remember seeing Venus in any Apollo shot. So why would they take Venus out?
Yeah, it was just an inconvenient truth that they could see things in the background at all. Then they would have to say, well, what else is in the background?
Right.
Now, let me jump in real fast if I can, Brett. Not Mike Collins, I think. I guess it was Jim Irwin I was talking with. When they would get into the shadow of the lunar module sitting on the lunar surface with the sun, which would be behind them, they were in the shadowed area, and they were looking out at night. They could see the stars and things like that, but by and large, since all the pictures started getting doctored as soon as they got them back, painting them out as I described a little bit earlier, then you wouldn't have. Now, coming from the command module, I think, Brett, is one of your things. You have pictures where you could see the lunar horizon and you could see Venus rising over the curvature of the moon.
Now, that's a fascinating part about this. Now, Brett, when you are doing the A/B, right? You've got the originals and you're going back and looking at the published versions of this.
Yes.
I don't know.
Looking at the public ones less and less as they went along.
Yeah. Because, was every single image retouched?
Yes.
No.
And they were even retouched before they even went to the public at all, including the universities that they've hired to clean them up.
Right.
They were already done before they even got to the universities.
Ken just said no.
When I say no, I guess I'm saying no because I got them before they were touched. I'm sorry.
Yes, Ken did. Ken got them, but all of the NASA images afterwards or whatever were done digitally. And what happened is that they were just learning the process. It seemed with Ken's images that he has, and they were using old-styled Chesley Bonestell Disney formatting, but putting acetate over the images, getting rid of what they don't want the public to see. Because remember, it is a public propaganda outfit.
Right.
So they're stripping out these things, and Donna Hare has come forward and said that they do this, and she also mentioned that yes, they had clear acetate over the images, and what they would do is take out all their stuff and then refilm it, just like Disney does with the backgrounds.
Yeah. I worked in dark rooms, for probably 10 years. And I understand the process behind it and retouching for whatever reasons, whether it's dust or hair or, just anomalies in the, everything, got cleaned up. But in this case, we're talking about removing artifacts and things that were there that they did not want us to see. And that is what is amazing to me, to all of us. In this collection of images here, let's, I don't want to run out of time. I want to specifically go through these. Which one? Okay, I want to do this one first because this one's pretty crazy, which is Gemini 12, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm pulling this up. Rita, go ahead and post Gemini 12 Bret enhanced. Okay. This is going to pop up here in Twitter. There's about a 10-second delay, so
it's like a little Nazi crap, doesn't it?
That is okay. So in this image that we are looking at, how much of it is enlarged? What is the size of this?
Well, the size of that particular UFO compared to the Gemini 12 in the foreground, my gosh, that thing, it would have to be 50 feet.
Right. And what it's a crazy shot. Now, Okay, so let's play devil's advocate here because it looks alien, it looks ET. Okay, I get that. If it wasn't that, and we were trying to explain it away, what do you think it could be?
Well, there's a couple of options. I think it's the shape of it is very unusual to be any kind of a scratch or an image flaw.
Okay.
And the other thing is this was from a slide that they showed executives in meetings. I think they would have fixed it before they took it into the meeting,
Right.
So, this was to show the executives, and there were a lot of anomalies in those old Finley holiday slides that Ken has. He has a bunch of those too. And, they didn't touch them up or anything. They just took them and took them to the meeting or whatever and said, this is the advancement of space and all that. Well, there's this little anomaly, which isn't so little. It's pretty blatant,
What about what about smoke? Or what about plastic wrap? What about, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of something, man-made.
It is ambiguous because it's an image. There is a perception issue.
Right.
Even if those executives or whoever at NASA knew the truth, they couldn't expect anyone else to have the same perception.
Right, and it seems like if it was explainable, right, whatever it is, it's the wrap from a Pop-Tart. They threw it out the window. Whatever it is, right? Whatever that they would just say that's what it was.
Right, or a UFO-shaped bug or something.
Right. It's a bird. It's swamp gas. But that's an incredible image. Now, in the original image, you said Gemini 12 is in the foreground. You can see part of it. What do you think? Are you able to do any type of triangulation in that? How far away was this from Gemini 12?
That looks about probably about a mile or two.
Right. Yeah, that is crazy. And now, and we have to remember back when Gemini 12, there weren't a whole lot of man-made objects in space.
No.
Not like today.
Absolutely not.
Right. And so the odds of something coming by, some kind of debris or whatever, or another satellite, which it doesn't look like a satellite anyway, but there wasn't a whole lot that was going on up there.
No, there wasn't satellites like we have today. Everything was just starting,
Right. Okay, which, let's see, digital moon. Should we go to Apollo 15? What would you guys like to do next? All of these are just amazing. Let's do...
that would be great.
Let's do digital moon. Okay. Now... first off, Rita, go ahead and get digital moon up here. And I want you guys to set this up here, the parabolic dish array base on the moon. I'm going to get it up here in just a second. What is this and where was this shot?
This was shot in the northern rim of Mare Fundamentalis.
Okay.
And it's on the near side of the moon. So it's a near side, and it's taken by the lunar module as it was reconnecting with the command module. We got this great shot of the lunar surface in the background, module flying around in Apollo 15.
Okay, Bret, you're breaking up. So check your bars, whatever is going on there. Right. You guys also have another. Is there another image of this with the actual crater? I think you might have sent that to me.
It's actually on the edge of a sea, so it's not on a crater.
Okay, but
the one that you're talking about is the old one from the lunar orbiter image, and it was on the side of a crater.
Okay, I have it here.
Yes, it's not a named crater.
Okay, it's Apollo 15 ET lunar bish. Okay, so Rita, yes, and next, let's get these going back to back. Post the one that says Apollo 15 command module in lunar orbit array anomaly. That's a long title. But it's, let me see here. It's the only one, Rita, that says Apollo 15. Okay, now, so when now I'm looking at this here. Okay, I need an explanation for everybody. I want to be very, very clear here.
You bet.
The Apollo 15 image, which is going to pop up here in a second, I see the crosshairs. This is a scan from the original print from Ken. Therefore, these are not digital artifacts from pixelization. This is from the actual slide or print.
That's correct.
Okay. That's correct. Now, that is redunculously crazy. This image here, I need an explanation. From NASA.
Yeah,
exactly. So do we.
Let me jump in on this real fast for you, if I may. Here, Bret was getting a chance to look at my archive one of the first times, and we're going along and coming up on this particular picture, and this is in enlarged, just maybe about once or twice at the most, and the command module portion of it, and that you're looking at on the right hand side, was what I was interested in. It's about it. Now I'm telling Bret, we'll take a look here, because the command module and the lunar module were rendezvousing and looking at each other, ensuring that all equipment, everything was together before they rendezvoused and docked.
Right.
And about this thing, Bret says, no, look what's on the lunar surface. Now, he's got a different brain than I have. I mean, he's an artist. He can perceive and see things that he has to then point me at it, and then my nose gets close to it, and I look at it. Son of a gun, would you look at what's on the lunar surface? Now, with that, Bret, you take over.
Well, it's very interesting. I looked at that image and, of course, compared it with the online NASA image, and it was smudged out or taken out, and also the part of the crosshairs were also taken out. So I knew that they had already altered it, or maybe altered it after I had mentioned it. But, you know, in Ken's image, which, by the way, I don't care about the NASA images anymore, believe me. I've gone through tunnels with this stuff. And Ken's images are very authentic. You know, the way they were printed, they're actually 8x10 prints, and he's also got the posi negatives straight from the Hasselblad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you can't really fudge that up. It hasn't been altered yet, even if there's a mistake on the film. So, you know, I'm looking at this particular image on the surface, and I noticed that there were rows of lights, completely organized in rows, and also I measured them, and they're the exact distance from each other.
Yeah, I've got it blown up here on my monitor, huge, and that, like I said, that needs some explaining here, because it's also the perspective of the shot. It's on the surface of the moon, and right. it's obviously not a natural formation of anything. This was something that was built.
It was built,
They're not more than 60 miles.
It's very likely that it was built during Project Horizon starting in 1958 with General Trudeau and Eisenhower on that project, because they wanted a lunar base up there for strategic reasons.
So that's what you think this is?
I wanted to jump in on.
Okay, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, Jim. Is it when you take a look at this, and then from an engineering standpoint that I'm looking at it, is the smaller domes and things are all equally spaced. They're spaced apart. There's actually evidence of either vehicle had tracked in between a couple of the rows. That is exactly what we Earthling, the humans, would do if we're building a base. Now, you take a look at what I saw in this crater Tsiolkovsky. Their domes and things were made to fit within the confines of the crater the way it would naturally fit, not that we forced it into, like you're looking here at these pictures here there of that base, and that was once Bret pointed that one out to me, I was just like, oh my God! And I've been looking at that for how many decades, and I never saw it.
Yeah, that's incredible. Is that similar to what you saw in the film?
The film was over Tchaikovsky, and no, they're totally different. That's what I was explaining. This base, and Bret has gone forward and been able to estimate the size of those based upon the altitude of the command module in that orbit and how much space it's taking up. So that was engineered and laid out a base the way they wanted it, whereas the one I showed in the film to Dr. Thornton Page and them, those domes were created in the edge of the crater just the way that it would fit amongst the cracks and crevices and what have you of the crater. So now, you're looking at, in my opinion, that base is probably one of our secret space program's bases, humans' base, not ET.
Now, I'm looking at the edge of the moon here, and from this is not small. This has got to be dozens of miles across, I would think. How big do you estimate this is?
Yeah, it's probably about 25 miles across.
Yeah, that's huge.
It reminds you of the VLA. VLA here in New Mexico, the very large arrays, and they're miles apart.
Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, somebody just posted a picture of Pine Gap, and it looks very similar to that. It certainly does. Now, wouldn't this be visible? This is on our side. This is on the visible side of the moon. Why could this be seen with just a normal telescope?
No way.
No.
And there are reasons for that. They make sure that the strength isn't good enough. It would be similar to looking at something fuzzy 60 miles up, like normal.
Right. Oh man, this is incredible. That's an amazing shot right there. Okay, let's go to. We saw the digital moon. Okay. Here. Okay. Rita, the next shot that we're going to do is Dr. Ken Johnston's Apollo Archive. Let's see here. This one is called Apollo Archive Collection, page 485. Page 485. Now, the first time that I saw this, again, this is very, very, very difficult for anybody to explain away. But for the audience, before the image gets posted here, what do we? There's 3 images. What are we looking at? Man, that is crazy.
Oh wow, you're looking at what's actually in the lunar sky in Apollo 11 and 12, and that is a craft. There's no doubt about it. The sun angle is exactly correct. It's the same as what's on the surface. So that is literally an object floating around. And it's got this little antenna thing sticking out of it. And what you're seeing is a half-shaded object.
Yeah, this is nuts.
It looks a lot like the German Hannibal.
It's got there's something. I wish I knew what direction it was traveling in, so you could know. I'm looking at it here, especially the middle image, which is 5450. Middle image, it's symmetrical. Those 2 dark spots on the left-hand side. See, now the question is it going from left to right or right to left? Right?
Left to right.
You think it's traveling left to right?
Yeah, just intuitively, yes, I think so.
Okay, I kind of, it could almost go in see, if it was going in the other direction, right, if it was going right to left, then that would be the cockpit in the middle, right? But if it's going left to right, then the 2 black spots are engines or some kind of exhaust.
Right, yeah, the reason why I'm using that intuition is because of how it's kind of cocked to the side.
Yes.
And if something's flying or whatever, it wouldn't be cocked the other way, if it was traveling that way necessarily. Of course, it's space, but.
Okay, so right below that, Bret, I want to get this in before the break. In image 7525, what's the difference between these two? One is in the lunar sky, one is on the surface.
Yes, one is sketching across the surface during the filming of the Earthrise image.
Now, also in the background, I see the enlargement here. What is that anomaly right in the dead center of the pic?
Oh, wow.
Do you see that right at the horizon, at the edge of the moon? Or something
yes, I see it. There's all kinds of stuff in that image right on the surface that looks like big machines and stuff.
Yeah. Yes, I see it.
Really
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, when I was going through Ken's archive, I was like, I'm seeing all kinds of stuff. My brain is going crazy, But I love my lunar anomaly group, and I wanted them to have a chance to find these things,
Right.
So I didn't post everything. You know what I mean?
And this is when I look at 7525, I see the object in the foreground, and that is again crazy, very similar to the 5450. But it looks like there's two of them here. That's two of them cruising together. That's an amazing shot. How much is this enlarged? And when you look at I wanted to ask you this. What is the original photograph of in 5450? What is in the foreground?
In the foreground, you just see the lunar surface like the guys are standing on the moon.
Okay, that's Apollo 11. That's Buzz and Neil, right?
Yes, it's a part of the panorama they did.
And could there be an explanation? Is this part of the command module? Who was? Man, that's right. Who was in the command module in Apollo 11?
Michael Collins.
Yeah, Michael Collins. Did he see anything?
No, he was pretty quiet about everything.
Right.
Unusually quiet.
Right. That's an incredible shot.
But yeah, the thought had crossed my mind, is that the command module that they're seeing? But Ken said, no way, that was on the other side of the moon.
No, that's not the command module. That is that's an X-wing fighter. It's
very unusual looking.
That is a crazy shot. And in Ken's original, I've got 1 minute, Bret. In Ken's original, I don't know how enlarged this is, but how far away is it? Do you have any guesstimate how large the craft is?
You can literally see it on the 8x10, and it looks like a little white speck.
Right.
So pretty far.
Right. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, let's take a break right here. We'll continue going through these images. Our guest, Ken Johnston, and Bret Sheppard is joining us, who's doing all of the analysis on these incredible original images from NASA. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRAradio.com.
Hello, Fadernauts. This is Jimmy Church, and I'm introducing New Pharma, a company whose products are based on science. Human function based on the endocannabinoid system, or ECS. New Pharma firmly believes in this science, and their research indicates that support of the ECS provides the beneficial effects for a healthy lifestyle. New Pharma's science includes relief capsules for pain relief, sleep capsules, which are natural support for occasional sleeplessness. Foundation is support for your ECS, and Fit capsules support your active lifestyle. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2B for a 33% discount on all of their products. Or visit newpharma.com for all of the knowledge on the science. That's GNUpharma.com. Go back, Lee Tappy. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go back, Lee Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Guest tonight, Ken Johnston, NASA image whistleblower. There's a title for you. Bret Sheppard is joined the show, too, as well, and we're going through these images. And Ken, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Yeah, okay, great. Let's go to image. We're going to do a massive load here. Let's go to image. I want the balloon. I don't know what this is. Page 498. I said balloon. I don't know what that is. We're going to get this up here in Twitter in just a second. What are we looking at here? That's crazy. That's a crazy shot.
A little quick background on this. Whenever I finally came forward, Lord, this was 1995, went to the conference where Hoagland was putting on a deal and invited him over to my house to take a look at the archive. And while we're looking at my wife comes up and says, oh, what's this thing, this bubble? Well, we got to look at it. Oh, my God. Because you can see a cable coming from the bottom of it where it is attached to the lunar surface, going up into the shadow of a cliff or canyon, right where this balloon is. It's very similar to helium, using helium-3, which is so much in abundance on the lunar surface. The only thing that we can come up with, that Bret and I can come up with, and he'll pick up in a minute, is that it was a way of taking the helium-3 and putting it in a gondola and put it there, and then lifted up off the lunar surface so it can be picked up by a craft and used because it's something of high demand.
Yeah, it also looks exactly like the old rocket balloon experiments that Van Allen actually used to discover the Van Allen belt and such, the radiation belt. They also used that experiment on the surface of Venus to test the atmosphere. And what would happen is the sun would come up and heat up the balloon with the whatever's in it, and it would take the balloon up into the atmosphere, and when the sun went down, it would go back down to the surface because of it would get cooled off, you know.
Now, this image is from Apollo 12, and looking at it, there are a couple of straight lines here that are very, very interesting. There's stuff going on the surface, too, as well, around whatever this is. It does look like a balloon. That's what it... And it looks like it's in motion, right? That it's moving up. How close is this to the antenna array?
Let's see. That would be on the far side of the moon during the Earthrise image. So not real close to the antenna array that we looked at earlier.
Okay. Now, when you looked at the original image, it's funny, Ken, that your wife saw it before you did. But, Bret, when you looked at the original image, how big is this object?
It's enormous. That's a very large crater right in front of it.
That is crazy. Do you, sometimes I'm at a loss for words and I can't get the questions out because I'm too busy looking at this. So what was the context of this shot, the original 8x10?
The context of the original 8x10 image, not sure what you're asking.
I mean, what were they?
The Earthrise image.
Oh, it was the Earthrise image. Got it. So the Earth is in the background. Got it. Okay, so
yes, and this was close to the foreground, so it wasn't exactly fuzzy.
Now,
they missed it.
Can I ask you the dumbest question ever? In the published NASA version of this, obviously this isn't there.
No, there is even in the published version, there's it looks like a little sketch mark, where they could say that it was just a lighting issue.
That is crazy. This line that is next to it to the left, which is going up at 10 o'clock, that looks really interesting too as well. Any idea what that is?
Well, during the rocket balloon experiments, they also had that line that went receded back from the balloon.
Right.
You know, so it looked a whole lot like that kind of experiment to me.
Yeah. Wow, that is an incredible. That again, you know, it's. I hate to repeat myself, but you need an explanation. And I would love to hear what NASA has to say about that, you know, looking at the original image, looking at the doctored image, and just explain to me what we're seeing here. Because
good chance they probably won't tell you.
You know, I've got some folks over at NASA.
No.
I'm feeling like I need to make a phone call tomorrow.
I've met a couple of those too. They got out of, retired from NASA, and they said, "Man, I wish I could talk about all the stuff I've seen."
That's just incredible.
The thing is, they get so shocked. They're so shocked at it, they don't even know how to respond whenever you show them because they've never seen this stuff before. They've been lied to as they go along.
Yeah, what this tells me is that no one's really, in the public has not seen what's actually on the surface of the moon or their experiments or anything else.
Okay, let's go to page 490, Rita, page 490. And this is the masonry on the on the edge. I don't know how to explain what I'm looking at here.
On the horizon, yeah.
Yeah, on the horizon. I'm too busy tripping out. I'm definitely tripping out. Okay, so we've got two objects here in this shot. One on the left, one on the right. And I like the way that you break this down. This is definitely a 90-degree angle. I totally agree with that. Let's talk about this anomaly on the right. My first question is, how tall is this from the surface?
This would probably come up to your shoulders.
So this is, you think this is about 6 feet tall?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Because basically the one that took the picture, the astronaut was looking at the horizon across the way, and maybe it's a little taller than people. I don't know, but it's definitely ruins on the horizon.
And the object, yeah, go ahead, Ken.
Now, what you have to take into consideration that the moon is that much smaller that the looking off at a distance goes already over the curvature of the moon. That is right on the edge of going down the other side of being able to. I personally think that could be much more than just 6 foot.
Could be a lot bigger than people size. Yeah.
Well, and see, the thing is, right, and everything that we've seen published on the surface of the moon, there's no protrusions like this. There's everything is, there's rocks and there's stuff, but that's all small and around your feet and so forth. There's nothing like this. There's nothing unnatural like this. The object.
Look at that diagonal line there.
Yeah, that diagonal line is crazy. I've got this enlarged, even much bigger than what you've got here, and that diagonal line is. That's not natural. The object on the left is very curious, and whatever it is on the top. Of course, they're going to say that that's a rock just sitting on that hasn't fallen down. That doesn't make any sense. What do you think we're looking at here, Bret? It looks like it's about the same size as the other object.
Yeah, it's about the same size. And sure, it could be a big boulder in the background, but I'm interested artistically in the sculptural aspect of it.
Right.
It looks like it has eyes and noses and a mouth. It's very bizarre looking.
Yeah, it is very bizarre. That boulder on the top doesn't make any sense.
No.
Let me get this out here. We're sitting here talking about it, and I spaced getting it tweeted. Okay, there it is for everybody to take a look at. Now, the in the middle of on the left-hand side, you've got a row of where it says lunar ruins on the horizon. That horizontal face is reminds you of Mars, right? That's the first thing.
Right.
But below that, sculpture and architecture, what are we looking at here?
Looks like domes.
Okay, Bret, we've lost you. Okay, hold on. Bret, if you can hear me, I'm just going to call you back. We can't do that live on the air, whatever that is. Let me just reset this phone line.
Jimmy, you'll find that happens a lot to us, Jimmy. When we go online and we're putting out some of this information, they find some way to get in and start blocking my call or his call on business. So it's not. This is not a normal thing. This is the attempt to try to shut us up, I think.
Yeah, it's not my first trip to this barbecue. Okay, Bret, do we have you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
See, now you're clear. Okay. The sculpture architecture, the third image down on the left, what are we looking at here? Wow, that's really interesting.
That's amazing, right? If you're looking at what we were looking at before, it's on the horizon. It's over to the right.
Right.
And it's another some kind of sculptural looking pieces, that look designed. That's why I call them that.
Yeah.
Like sculpture and architecture.
Yeah, that's an incredible set of stuff there. Let's looking at the clock. I want to get everything in. Let's go to we did that page 499, Rita. Okay, now 499. I've seen this before. Maybe you guys showed it to me. I've seen this image before, and I have no idea what the heck this is. No, I can tell you what I think it is. There's somebody looking at the astronauts. That's what that is.
We've seen things like that on Mars as well, and Bret's got some pictures of that. But you're right. Well, he described it very good there, because you've got the one astronaut taking the picture of the astronaut next to the rover, and so if he's taking the picture and you're looking at the other astronaut, what's that one up that's over on the edge going up over towards one of the mountains?
Yeah, who's number 3? Who's the visitor there? Wow. Okay, Bret, I'll let you have fun with this. What do you think? What do you think this is?
I think that's one of the actual what they would one of the etheric type beings.
That's interesting, and the color is what's really strange, right? Mm-hmm. You can see the color.
Magnetic.
Yeah,
yes.
You can see the color of the astronauts. This guy is blue.
Yeah, magnetic.
That is now. I'm going to back this out a little bit. Let me. I've got to retweet. The distance here is pretty amazing, because if we look at the size of the rover, we look at the distance here, we don't need to really imagine how far away that is. I'm going to guess and say 100 yards,
right?
Maybe more.
I would say it'd be more than that.
Yeah,
a lot more than that. And the reason the astronauts commented is that you don't have any natural surroundings that you can estimate the size of something, because in the atmosphere is absolutely almost no atmosphere, clear. That could be as much as, several miles away, absolutely crystal clear on another ridge going towards that mountain in the background. So I don't think you can get a really reasonable estimate of the size of that. Well, it looks like a guy on the surface over there, but it's not.
Yeah, it's not the solar wind experiment. It's too big.
Well, see, we have to look at it. Solar wind experiment. We have to look at it like this. Our eyes, through evolution, we're seeing another human. We're seeing something 6 feet tall. That's that's what our brain is programmed to see. So we're assuming that's 100 yards away. But it could be 50 feet tall.
It could be,
right?
15 to 20 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly. And in which case that would be a long, long ways away. You look at the mountain in the background, and then it starts to throw you off a little bit, and you start thinking to yourself that this may be something really, really large. I like the way you say apparition, because it could be, it almost looks transparent, I guess is the right word. Holographic, right? Am I saying this right? It looks like it could be a ghost.
Yes, I like that.
Bret? Did we lose Bret again? Bret,
am I losing you again?
Yeah, don't make me nervous, Bret. Okay, Bret, does it look ghostly to you? Okay, yeah, we lost Bret again. Somebody's messing with us. See, and this is.
They do that.
Yeah, I don't freak out anymore, Ken. I used to freak out and get all upset and use bad words. It's just the way that it is. But again,
I agree with you.
This, like the rest of these images, this is directly off of either a negative or a print, correct?
This was actually in a book, Time Life book.
Oh, that's where I noticed. That's why I brought it up, because you can see the 4-color process here for the printing.
That's correct.
Okay, so this image, Ken, we don't have the original of this image?
On Apollo 17, no. I had already been transferred away from the LRL by then. And in fact, even the Skylab thing was shut down from me. So I wasn't able to have very many of the first generations. Fortunately, I had a good friend in the astronaut mail room that gave me copies of a lot of more things that happened after I left the Lunar Signal Laboratory. But no, I do not have an actual copy of that one.
Yeah, Karen just tweeted, I called Bret every day for a month on a landline, never had any issues. Tonight he does the show, and here you go. All right, let's go to... here it is. Okay. Let's get this up for everybody. I didn't see this before. We didn't publish it. Rita, the next image that I want you to get up, Gemini 12 UFO. Gemini 12 UFO. Okay, now we can look at this. Now we're looking at Gemini 12. There's the Earth. There's this object in the background, and that's a friggin' UFO. That's what that is.
The old style, yeah.
That is now... You know what? I like this image better than the enlargement.
Yeah, I do too, because you can see the Gemini craft in the foreground.
That is nuts. Okay, Rita, get
this.
That's
the Agena target. Yeah, Agena target craft, and this is where Buzz Aldrin was getting ready to go out on his first EVA and go over and look. I actually had before they were ever published, they were still classified as top secrets, the instrument panel on the Agena target vehicles for that Gemini flight.
So that's how the image was. Okay, so that's how it was taken. Obviously, there's Gemini 12 right there. Buzz is in Gemini 12. He's in this craft.
Correct.
Right, he's looking at the same thing we are.
Got you. Wow, that is nuts. That is crazy.
They're still inside the Gemini spacecraft.
Now, wait a minute.
Standing up in it.
Now, Buzz... Okay, help me out here. I need to understand. Who took this picture?
It would have to be either Buzz
one
or...
of the astronauts
right.
On the Athena.
Okay. Yeah, it was Alan Sheppard and Buzz Aldrin, Gemini 12.
Right.
So one of these two guys looked out the window, saw that, took the picture of this object. He wasn't taking a picture of anything else. He wasn't taking... That thing is staring at him in the face. That's what he took the picture of. And neither of these guys has talked about this?
No, of course not. They were sworn not to talk about anything like that. And the astronauts are heroes to me. They got into a rocket full of a bunch of fuel, like a bomb, and went up into space. The thing is that. I'm sure they kiss their Masonic ring every time, they lie about stuff like this or have to not say anything about it.
Right.
But they saw it. Edgar Mitchell saw what he saw, too.
I was with Buzz and his wife for a day, and you guys are going to laugh. I didn't bring up any of this stuff.
Wow.
I was,
you were in too much of
What? No. We talked about everything we talked about everything. We talked about, but this was a zone I just wasn't going to go into.
Well, as long as you don't say that we didn't go to the moon, you won't get punched in the face.
I know, right? It's still one of the great videos of all time.
And Bret, don't kiss my Masonic ring either.
Yeah, I know about yours.
But this is a really, really amazing image. I mean, it's got everything in there where you've got the Earth, you've got the spacecraft, you've got the context, you've got the man-made, I should say, spacecraft, and then you've got this object in the background that looks to me, judging from the way it's focused here, that's probably, 100 miles away, or...
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't care if it's a mile away, but that is an object. That's an object. That's a real shot. That's incredible.
Oh, yeah. That object looks like the one that was on the lunar surface that we took a picture of. Well, you looked at it a little bit earlier. That odd shape of it. Although it's sitting horizontal right now.
Right.
We're looking at it, tilted sideways. It looks identical.
Right. Wow. That's an incredible shot. Okay, I've only got 5 minutes left here before we have to say goodnight. So let's go to, we've got your performance letter. I'll put this up after the break. But this Rita Tellites. How do you, what am I looking at? Yeah, Tellites. How do you say that?
It's Bret's retarded writing. It's supposed to say satellites, but I was too excited, so that's what it looks like.
Oh, I see. Satellites, Tellites. Okay. Again, walk us through this. I'm going to get this up on Twitter right now. And I see the highlighted area. I need you to walk me through this. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, good. This is not far. This is you can see Tsiolkovsky Crater. It's a little bit north of where that big Manhattan-sized mothership is. A little bit north of that, and you have this series of satellite dishes along the crater. And I showed this at the Scottsdale conference, and a guy named Vance Davis came up to us and said, the NSA still has us working on those things on the moon.
Now, there are, if you go to the left of that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 more.
Oh, yeah.
In a little square.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Huh.
But they're there. You can see the shadow under them and everything. They're right there,
Man, I love being able to blow these up and look at this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Donna
incredible.
Hare said something very interesting. She said they're facing away from the Earth.
Wow. That's incredible. Okay, how much time do I have? Let's see if I can get one more shot in. Let me retweet this and get this out. Okay, done. And I had one more shot, and it was this may be it. I thought we had one called Moon. Okay. No, that's it. Okay, that's everything. That's everything that you guys sent us. Absolutely incredible. And now, Bret, what do you have on your website?
Well, on my website, I have an ad from my book on the artwork. I've got some articles, about stuff that I found or believe in. I'm writing currently on a book called Listening to Mars, or Listening to the Planets, and it's about our first contact in 1924 with the radio telescope.
And what about images? You have images up there for everybody?
I don't, but I'll tell you what, I'll put a bunch of them up there.
Okay, because I'm gonna send your link out. We don't have it up at jimmychurchradio.com tonight. I'll have it up there tomorrow.
And also, people can go to the Lunar Anomaly Research Society on Horrifying Facebook and see some of those images there.
Okay, thank you so much. What an incredible show! And for me, I'm a child of the '60s. I grew up in the '60s and '70s, and went through all of these exciting times. And this was so much fun for me to go through and look at these images. And Ken's website is right there at jimmychurchradio.com. You can click on the links and go and visit. And I just got BretCollin.com up for everybody, and it's out there on Twitter right now. I want to thank the both of you. Fantastic show, and I can't wait to get you both back on, and we'll go through some more images and have some more fun.
Thanks, Jimmy.
It was great.
Thank you.
And that's proof we did go to the moon.
Sort of. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Bret. And let's do it again. Thank you so much.
You bet.
All right, thank you. Good night.
Bret, Sheppard, Ken Johnston. Amazing work. So much fun. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'm going to come right back and open up the phone lines for everybody. And, wow, my mind is blown. On the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'll be right back. Stay with us.
And you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
So you went to dinner last night, you had your favorite pasta. Ugh. Or maybe you had a heavy, spicy meal and it left you. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Maybe you mowed down a huge steak and your plumbing is all plugged. Ugh. GetTheT.com. Our super strength tea will take care of your occasional. Ugh. It's all organic and non-GMO. Get rid of ugh. We have so many great supplements, but our super tea is number one. GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hey, can we talk about something serious for a minute? Your age. Getting old has its perks. But remember, being a few years younger, you know, your hair was thicker, you didn't have so many wrinkles, that extra weight wasn't haunting you, and you just felt better. Well, we can't turn back the clocks and go back 10 or 15 years, but you can start feeling and looking 10 or 15 years younger with Nature's Youth RSF. It's a doctor-formulated daily supplement that helps your body maintain its peak performance and fight the aging process. Imagine sleeping better, looking better, and feeling better. See how Nature's Youth RSF has helped thousands of people just like you at nature'syouth.com. nature'syouth.com. The holidays are coming. Imagine how it will feel when your family and friends are asking you what you did to look so good. Your secret will be Nature's Youth RSF. It's time to start looking better and feeling better. Learn more and order your Nature's Youth RSF at nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Ken Johnston, amazing. Bret Sheppard, thank you so much. Amazing. Amazing. I'm opening up the phone lines right now. Did we go to the moon or not? Right? Did we go to the moon or not? 323-825-5045 or 323-275-9695. Did we go to the moon or not? Number one. Number two, these are images that are very tough to explain. I mean, if I was part of NASA, I'm in that, that photo library, and I'm dealing with these negatives and looking at them on light tables and going through this stuff, I'm asking questions, and that is, for me, very hard to explain away. It looks like, what? Okay, hold on here. That's a very strange phone call coming in. I'm going to go to... Hi, you're live on Faded Black. Who's calling?
Hi, this is Karen.
Hi, Karen. I saw the phone number. I'm like, what's going on here?
The same phone number, right? No, it's very similar.
Yes. So I've got other calls on hold, so that's what you're listening to there, Karen. Oh. So what'd you think of the show? What's going on? Hold on for a second. Who's this? Okay, I don't know. I'm going to hang up on that. Karen, you were hearing what? So anyway, I got rid of that phone call. Whatever it was, something was interfering. Again, you called me. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm the third part of the A team there with Ken and Bret. I'm Bret's partner and Ken's editor, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having the boys on. I feel like the command module pilot. They land on the moon and I just go around. We were joking about that a minute ago. But thank you so much. I just wanted to make sure people kind of knew what's coming out. We're coming out to Contact in the Desert. We're super excited about that. Ken's going to be speaking. We're going to be doing a combined workshop. We're kind of going over this whole case of the base on the moon that Bret has done a phenomenal job of. And we're running out about 3 years of working with Ken, and, having the archive on our desk so much it was annoying. I mean, because we were like scanning it and studying it and everything. And they're in these big giant folders, so we're like moving it around so we can like print something on the computer, on the printer. And it's very exciting. And I really want to urge people to go to the website. I think I have to double check. We had to do his website like 3 times because it kept getting hacked. But we want to make sure people know about the archive, because the archive is posted on a combined big thing called archive.org. You look up Ken Johnston on archive.org, because Bret painstakingly scanned all of the photos, all of the slides. We don't want, we don't want to be like, there's no possible way we could hoard these images to find all the anomalies. We want it's kind of like a lot of eyeballs on these pictures to have a look at what's on there. And we really want people to get a grip on the fact that we need to start making our space agency accountable to the public about this manipulation that's been going on. It was originally the smudging out stuff, and Donna Hare has testified to that. And now it's gone into CGI, and Bret wrote a book, Digital Moon, to talk about that, because now it's all CGI-based. And this is really important because we paid for it with our tax dollars.
That's right.
And we just...
Yeah, that's right. And I also wanted to say really quick that me being a fanboy here, I lost track of being a professional and didn't mention Contact in the Desert. Yes, Ken Johnston is going to be out there, so is Bret, so is Karen, and come and hang out with all of us there. And also, Ken is going to be leaving to Vancouver in a couple of days. What are you guys doing up there?
Oh, we're not going with him. He got asked to do this trip, so he's, sometimes we hang out as the A team. He likes to call us, and sometimes he goes and does his own thing, and sometimes Bret and I do our own thing. So yeah, we're going to be in Contact in the Desert. Also, Bret and I used to live near Ken, and we got an opportunity to go to a really cool place called Silver City, New Mexico. And in September, we will be having the Mars Anomaly Research Society conference there, but we've opened it up to all anomaly type topics, so we'll be getting information about that. That's going to be we're kind of a cool little western artsy town out here in Silver City, New Mexico, and it'll be very intimate. intimate type of gathering where you could really spend time talking to Ken. I mean, he's very approachable. When I first, when Bret and him started talking, I sort of thought Ken would be one of those, cigar-chomping, curmudgeon ex-Marine pilots. But he isn't. So he's kind of funny and goofy and very personable. And we'll also have his new second book coming out called Regression of a Whistleblower. A couple of years ago, he had a regression session with Dr. Sasha Lesson, who's a hypnotherapist. And it's amazing, and I'm editing it right now. I'm just going crazy excited about this coming out. So there's a lot going on in our camp, and we love to share with people, but we just really need more people to look into it. Whenever, like Eric, Awakening Man, would show up and John Polk and others, we'd drag them over to Ken's house. Like they come visit us, we take them over to see the archive because we don't know with, the Men in Black type of thing, how long we'll have that archive available. Ken's been able to keep it, but that has been quite an achievement to do that. I mean, I've lost most of my stuff moving from here to there. I mean, he's managed to keep it, and the archive is real, and it's a testimony to the manipulation that's been going on, and as Ken says all the time, it's time for us to have full disclosure, and he's on board with it. And with this regression, he shares his experiencer side of him, which I've been pushing him to do because I'm so excited about that. I'm an experiencer too, and I've been doing radio on that for a number of years. And I finally convinced him that, he was always kind of worried about credibility issues because he's, trying to do something quasi-scientific here. But I told him, look, there's so many people that are experiencers. It's important to get that on the record as well. So it's very exciting.
Thank you so much, Karen. And I look forward to hanging out with you once again out at Contact in the Desert. Thank you so much. And again, give my best to Ken and Bret. You guys are just doing amazing work. It's it's just a large amount of data that you guys are sitting on top of. And you're absolutely right. Managing that is a really big deal. So thank you for all of your efforts.
Thank you, Jimmy. So excited. We're all fans, too.
Take care. We'll see you in a minute. 3 weeks at Contact in the Desert.
Oh, my gosh.
I know, right?
Okay, cool.
We'll see you then. Safe travels.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Yeah. What? The more that I look at this, I remember out at Roswell, and I was just looking at the volumes of images that they have. It's absolutely incredible. All right, let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Oh, hello?
Yeah, you're live right now.
Hey, this is Rick.
This is Rick. How are you?
Great. Great show, Jimmy.
Thank you so much.
Just wanted to recollect on my memories of me and my family sitting on the couch watching the moon landing live, and if it didn't really happen, it would devastate me.
I know. I was with. I know. I was with my Uncle Bob a couple of years ago in Florida, and we were talking about Apollo 11. And I remember sitting with him. He had this big chair in front of this TV, and we were watching it live. And I was sitting with him, and he goes, "Man, that was one of my greatest memories with you sitting there with me watching it." And
Absolutely.
I hear you, man. I totally hear you right now. I hear you loud and clear. But I think that. There's that side of it, but I think that we went to the moon, but I think we had a parallel. We had something else that was a little more advanced that was going on at the same time. That's just my take, and the only reason why I think about that is because I've seen the Apollo capsules. I went up and stuck my head in the door and looked inside of it, and I'm telling you, back in 1968, 69, 1970, if somebody told me I was going, they were going to strap me in that and shoot me to the moon, I wouldn't go. There's no way.
No.
There's no way.
No way either.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
hey,
Rick. Yeah, go ahead.
Tell Rita I said hi, and I think she's awesome.
Yeah, I think she's awesome too, and I will tell her, Rick. Well, you just did, but I'll do it after the show.
Behind every good man is a great woman.
Yep, truer words have never been spoken, my friend.
Thank you, sir. You have a good night.
Yeah, you too, Rick. Thank you. That would be devastating, wouldn't it? Right? That would just be absolutely devastating. But it comes down to, for me, when we look at the different sides of this, we have, and I want to be right about this. We have the aspect of the Van Allen radiation belt. We have the technology that we had back then, the computers that were involved. And if you think about this, we're talking about slide rules and calculators and things like that. It's a mind-blowing situation that we are able to pull that off. And when you think about the moon moving, it's in orbit, right? It's moving, or Mars, right? It's moving. Earth is moving around the sun. And now you can look at it and see it, but it's a whole nother aspect of getting there and the timing right. And it's like, I can't imagine how perfect everything has to be. But meanwhile, all of the other parts of it, spacesuits, oxygen, heat, the sun, the cold, space, that part of it, and the trajectory that's going on, the sun always heating up one side of the spacecraft, going through the radiation belt, the thinness of that, what the spacesuits were made out of, and I combine all of that, and I'm just thinking about just a logistical, technical side. It just doesn't seem right. It's difficult to do today, right? It's difficult to do today. We haven't been back. So, that's just me. That's how my brain works. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling? You're live.
Hello?
Yes, you're live. Are you in a bar?
No, I'm in a truck.
Okay, you're in a truck. Same thing. How you doing? Who's calling?
Hey, good, Jimmy. Hey, my name's Dave. I'm from Milwaukee. I wanted to tell you about a couple of sightings I had. One last summer was incredible. And unfortunately, I didn't get to see it for all that long. We were actually outside at the pool, came back into the apartment. My girlfriend went out on the front porch. Now, we do live close to the airport in Milwaukee, but, she was out on the porch for a couple of minutes. I hear her tap or bang on the patio door, and I really don't pay any attention to it. She does it again. Finally, she calls my name after a couple of minutes. I walk out onto the patio, and this thing was probably 300-400 feet away from us. And I've talked to her after we kind of saw this. As soon as I saw it, I ran back into the apartment to grab my phone to get video of it.
Right.
And by the time I came back out, started filming, the thing went around the corner of the building, and I never did get it on camera. And I asked my girlfriend, why didn't you go and get your phone? Why didn't you yell for me to come out there? She was just so in awe of what she saw. She's like frozen. She couldn't move, kind of a thing.
Well, Dave,
she had a hard time dealing with what she was seeing.
I know you're driving a truck right now, and I appreciate you calling in. And so I don't mean to interrupt you, and you're driving at the same time. But what did it look like?
So what it looked like, and it was hard to tell if it was all connected or if it was all three, basically triangular shaped. Each corner of the triangle, it was like a round pot. Now, it was hard to tell because it was almost eye level. It was hard to tell if they were connected or separate, but in a very tight formation, completely silent, and it was not moving very fast at all, just kind of floating along. It was probably 400 or 500 feet off the ground, and like I say, a couple hundred feet away from us.
Wow, that's very close. How big was it?
Maybe the size of a minivan, maybe a little bit larger. The weird thing about it was the next day we had incredible amounts of military aircraft flying around that area. So basically around our complex in that area.
Is there, up in Milwaukee, is there an Air Force base?
There might be.
Yeah, I don't know of one. I don't remember hearing about one. I mean, I grew up, very close to there. But I don't remember. Anyway, where would the military craft have come from? Well, you have Great Lakes Naval Station. They may have some aircraft down there, right? Just north of Chicago. But there are Air Force bases in Illinois. But I don't know. I don't know about Wisconsin. That's interesting. What kind of military aircraft was it? Like black helicopters? What was it?
Yeah, helicopters.
And you never saw those before, right?
No, Every once in a while, you'll see the jets performing practice maneuvers at the airport, but that's every once in a while.
Right.
I've lived in this general area pretty much my whole life, and I really never see anything like that.
So you had one of
helicopters, that kind of thing.
You had one of the most amazing sightings I've ever heard, and you didn't get it on video.
I know, and I was listening to one of your old shows about, it taking good video and good pictures in order for this to, start coming out more. And, that was as soon as I saw it, I turned around to grab my phone, went back, and it already kind of went around the corner of the building. But it was unbelievable. And then the second one we had, I was up in northern Wisconsin at my brother's house. We had got done eating, went outside. We're standing in his driveway. We look up into the sky, and we're following this light moving pretty high in the sky. And then all of a sudden it was like you could see it, like somebody was holding a flashlight and then turned the light toward you. And I swear to God, the ground around us lit up.
Say what?
Can't explain that one either, yeah. Yeah, so picture, if you're standing in a dark room, and let's say you're watching somebody walk perpendicular to you holding a flashlight, and then they were to slowly turn that flashlight and point it right at you, and then it just was gone. So that area around us lit up. It was the craziest thing.
How high up was it? That sounds like one of the sightings that I've described here a few times.
Oh my God! It was pretty damn high. Yeah, it was up there. It could have been a couple of miles.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like exactly what happened to us up at ECETI. I'm sure you've heard me tell the story, many times. I don't need to go through it again, but it was, I'm guessing, a mile high, and that thing flashed us like a camera flash. That's the best way I could explain it. Hey, Dave, I got a question for you. This just popped up in Twitter, and since I have you on the line, I wanted to ask you, do you remember those food sticks that the astronauts used to eat back in the 70s? Those food sticks, and they came in the tinfoil, and you could buy them, with Tang.
I don't.
You're not old enough,
I know
you?
that they were big into the dehydrated food with all that.
They were like, I don't even know how to explain it, man. It was like cookie dough in a stick.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember the name of it, and they're talking about it right now on Twitter, and I don't know. I can't remember the name. I totally remember them. The peanut butter ones were amazing. The chocolate ones were good too, it was a stick. It was like the size of a pencil, and it was wrapped in tinfoil, and you could peel it, and you ate it. Man, there was a name for it. I can't remember. Hey, Dave, what kind of truck do you drive?
I'm in a semi.
Yeah, what kind? What kind of tractor?
Freightliner.
Freightliner, automatic, 12.
Yeah.
Automatic?
No, it's only a 10-speed.
It's a 10-speed? So, how long have you been driving?
Yeah, probably 6 years.
6 years? So you can so you can drive and talk at the same time.
Yeah, well, I've got a headset. Legally, you can't drive and hold the phone up to your head.
I'm just
but
messing.
as long as you're wearing a headset, you're fine.
I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you. So are you delivering? Are you like you got a full load?
I'm hauling steel. Yeah.
You're hauling steel. So you're at what, 60,000 pounds full weight?
80,000.
80. That's what I'm talking about, Dave. That's a man's world right there. That's a man's world. Thank you so much for calling in and sharing that with us. Next time.
Yeah, you bet. That was crazy. I had to call and tell you about it because it was unbelievable. And I just, I can understand with my girlfriend just being frozen there. She had a hard time dealing with what she was seeing. But it was incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Look, and you don't have to feel strange about it. I have been around so many different sightings, and I've only managed to take a picture once. The other pictures I have are accidental. But as far as taking out something and shooting a video at that moment, no, you don't think about that. I'm guilty of it, so don't. I'm just glad that you had the experience and you had it with your girlfriend and you shared it with us here on Fade to Black. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Now,
you're welcome.
I want you to be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow night on the show.
You know it.
Thank you, Dave. Be safe out there, man.
All right. Thanks, you too.
Thank you. That's a great phone call right there. Freightliner delivering steel in Wisconsin. That's a man's world right there. That's an incredible sighting. And so many out there that are skeptical or don't believe, and those that do believe, that have brought up that question over and over again. Where is the perfect shot? I've brought it up. I've been bringing it up for 20, 25 years. But it's difficult. It's not easy to do. The sightings that I've had, and I have no idea what the number is, right? I don't know how many sightings I have had at this point. But I can tell you that I've got like 2 images, one on film, the famous triangle shot, and the black triangle, and then the other one that was taken up at ESETI when I was shooting the cave, and that weird craft was next to Mount Adams. Other than that, I haven't taken any shots. I've been out there doing all of these night watches, and we've had daytime sightings, and I've seen just the craziest stuff. I haven't taken a picture of anything, so and some of it, most of it happens so quickly that by the time you take out your phone and fire up the camera, it's gone. And that's if you even thought about pulling it off. So what do? You've got a choice. Do you stand and enjoy the moment and take it all in and try to remember it? Do you do that, or do you fumble around with your camera phone and blow it? And those are your choices. So I totally get it. Unless you're standing there ready and waiting and good to go, it's just going to pass you by. All right, Fade to Black. What a great show tonight. Got to thank Ken Johnston, Bret, Sheppard. An amazing show tonight. Thank you to everybody that called in, too, by the way. Fantastic tweeting going on. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Webmaster Drew the Geek, music Doug Aldrich, intro Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA The Planet. Thank you to everybody in this wonderful audience of ours. The Fadernauts, you guys are spoiled. This broadcast is only copyrighted 2018 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. Until tomorrow night, Michaela Sheldon, right here. I want everybody to be safe Go back, Lee Tappy.